everybody, welcome to Garrett's Games. We are a podcast and video series about board games. So, as you can kind of see, we had to move the camera back for this one so that we could talk about Nassau. This is one of the Stefan Feld collection games from Queen Games that came out over the last few years. This is number 7 in the series. This one came out with Kathmandu, and it is, according to BGG, a re-implementation of Rum and Pirates, right, which was number 10 in the Alea series, if you go back a ways.
This one's quite different.
They are quite different. Yeah. Oh, by the way, I'm Doug.
And I'm Shelley.
Yeah, and so we're going to talk today about this 2 to 4 player game called Nassau from Stefan Feld and Queen Games. In Nassau, we've got 2 boards. Now, if you've seen, and here's where the re-implementation of Rum and Pirates, well, a little bit. This is Rum and Pirates, along with a press your luck dice roll mechanism for your sleeping companions. None of this is in Rum and Pirates. So this is a much more substantial game. Even though, I mean, Rum and Pirates was probably the lightest of the Stefan Feld games, which is why I went into this one going, okay, grain of salt. And but adding this board actually does some interesting things. You have a ship up here with a lot of pieces. I should say that for a game that plays in about 60 minutes, I think it would play no more than 60 minutes for experienced players. For a game that plays with 60 minutes, this is quite the setup, okay? It took me, as you saw at the beginning of this video, and I sped it up, this took me about 18 minutes to set up, and I knew what I was doing for the most part, okay? I had to go back and look at things, but you've got 1, 2, 3, 4 different types of things that go out on this map. That 5 if you count then the resources that go onto things for the second part of the game. This is all set up with then a jigsaw piece for the score track that goes around the outside, so everything's held together very nicely. I forgot to put out my score thing over here, all right? But we have a lot of things going on, and so the game is played in 2 parts. That first part is over here, and Shell's going to talk a little bit about this. This is the resource gathering part.
Yeah, so you decide what kinds of resources you need based on the type of cards you have, right? And they'll kind of give you something to go on.
Right. You get cards at the beginning of the game.
And you look at all those.
2 start cards, 2 A or R cards, and a B card. And these have a certain amount of scoring.
Different weapons you might want to get.
Exactly.
And things like that. So this will kind of guide you to where you're probably going to want to go onto the board.
It's kind of interesting that the A cards here in my hand and the B card, they're at about the same value. These are 4 and 5, and this one's 5. But the B cards do go up in value up to 8, and we'll talk more about how those score.
Because those are a little bit harder to accomplish. Yeah. So if I really wanted to get this type of weapon here, I would have to put my 3 people here, and then this would move here. And I would grab that weapon. And you
grab that weapon. Here is the harpoon from Supply.
And then I put it where all those type of weapons are stored, which is here. Yeah. And I started the game with a rifle.
So.
And then Doug would do his turn.
Exactly. Or she can pay a coin to go immediately again. So that is a possibility. We never really do that in a 2-player game. I think that it might be okay, but I think definitely so too, something in a 3 or 4 player. You can also rest or pass and pay a coin to do that too. So that's the resource. The first half of your ship here, you can see across the top, these are the different types of weapons and also the different types of bad guys out here that have to be fought using those weapons, and we'll talk more about those because that gets you points. You have a place on your ship to store resources. There are 3 open holds at the beginning. They look like this here, okay? And then you have 2 closed holds, which you can flip over because one of the actions over here in the resource gathering is opening up one of those closed holds. You can also see on your ship that you've got sails
sails.
and sailors, which are different from your pirates. So your pirates are these wooden guys, but then the sailors are here. The sailors each can have an animal that fits on the top of them, and these animals all have some type of
Special
rule baking
power.
you can do. You can go and get an animal, and where's
There's
the
some
animal? The
spots
little
for animal
paws
collection.
here. Exactly. But all of the different resources. So you have to have a pair of sailors and sails, and that's how far you can move over here on this board.
So we can move 2 at this point until we get another sail and another sailor.
Right. In this game, you start with 8 pirates in your ship. And then you have over here, which you can barely see, the pub, or where you can go, the bar, where if you go to another
spot,
thing,
yeah.
another spot on the board, and here, this is getting pirates. If you do that, you also get a resource, a coin, or 2 of these boxes, which are ammo boxes, and then food. You need sustenance. Okay, cards, more of these cards, and you can choose which pile to draw from, or even another sailor. All right, so depending upon which of these you draft, and it doesn't matter, they all do the same thing, but you can choose the action that you do with that.
So then, say Doug came and he put in his piece. He would only have to put 1 piece in there.
I only have to put 1
which is pretty
to
great.
come in here to get 3
3
of
here.
my ammo boxes.
So
Now,
that might have made sense for me to maybe pay my coin, so I could have gotten that.
right. The key factor, though, is that each of your holds can only hold a certain type of good. Only 4 of the ammo boxes, only only 3 of each of the food resources. So if I got these 3 ammos, I put them in 1 in there, and now all 3 of my open holds are full. I'd have to throw these out to take something else, like, for example, one of these goods when I do some sailing.
Right, over here, these colored goods here.
So you're going to go
But
through...
you can also go off the board. If you go off the board here, you're going to get to go on from any side that you want. But you do have to pay.
Pay a coin
and
to do
coins
that.
are pretty precious.
They are pretty precious, and we'll talk about how you use those. So you go along and gather your resources. You can spend as many as you want of these, or hold on to some. We'll talk about why you might want to do that. But yeah, that going off the board and then coming back on any side can be really powerful when you're looking at that. So after you're done with that, then whoever drops out first becomes the start player of the second part of the game, and they take their little wooden ship, that is their replica, and put it on one of the ports in Nassau, okay, getting resources, getting food, and either more food, or getting food, food, because food is how you sail, or cards, or rum, or more ammo boxes, or a coin. So you can choose whichever one you want to do. You're always going to get a couple of more of these foods, so I get to put that in, and say I did the cards, so maybe I take 2 cards, because those don't take up spots and give me something to work toward.
Yep.
All right. So Shelley's going to go along and she's going to choose her spot at some point. Maybe she takes those 2 food stuff.
Yeah.
And she's setting up and wants to get that coin because she's got a plan. Okay. Sure. And then in turn order, we're going to, for every time we sail, we're going to spend a food. And then we're going to be able to move up to the number of sails and sailors pairs that I've got. So currently at the start of the game, you can move 2 spots only. And each spot would be crossing a dotted line. However, there's one stipulation. If there is a kraken, thank you, a kraken in a spot, you have to stop there. Now, you don't have to fight it, but you can either fight it or do any of the actions that is in that particular spot. So in this A area, there are a few things you could do. Number 1, you could put ammo cubes in like a storehouse in these towers. and you get to put as many as you have of that weapon. So, for example, since I have 2 of the hooks,
Right.
I could and I might want to do this because I want to clear this out.
Yep.
I could put 2 of those in this area.
And then it would be my turn.
Exactly, and then we'd be going back and forth.
Right.
Shelley, at some point, if she had built up and had 3 of the hooks, she could, as long as she's in this area, she could bump me out of here. These go to general supply, and she could put 3 in. Why is that important? Well, we'll get to
from
scoring.
my own area?
Yeah, sorry, 3 from. Yeah,
This
sorry,
I don't
three
know.
three from
Yeah.
her ship, not
yeah,
from
yeah,
her
yeah,
general
general
supply. Okay, so you can go back and forth with that. The other things that you can do is you can fight the different monsters. They are the ones that are on the octagonal pieces. So this would be another ship, or as Shelley said, the Kraken, and so on. And you don't have to have as many fight strength as they do to beat them.
Right.
But if you do, then that's better. So, for example, if you look at my board, I only have 1, because you always get 1 of each. I only have
Right.
1 harpoon.
Right.
So I could come in here, and that's possible. I could come in here and put that in, and then I'm going to have to draw 2 tiles from the bag in the fight. There are 3 different types. There's they missed on the attack. I'll get the other kind out of here. There's the attack. You have to get some rum, or else you're going to lose the cube from here. Okay, or they hit, and now for every cube you put on there, you get to roll a die. And as long as you roll a 3, 4, 5, or 6, you don't lose this stuff, okay? So this would be, if I had missed, I would lose 2 of my ammo boxes, or I'd lose victory points if I didn't have those to give up.
Yeah.
Now, because I only have the 1 here, okay, that means that Shelley could come in and beat this, right? But I do get points during the end of a round if you have cubes still on a monster that hasn't been beaten.
Yeah, and some of your cards will want you to have ones that have not been fully accomplished too.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The other thing that you can do in this particular area is, as long as you have 2 of a particular weapon, you could, and you have to have space on your boat, you could take this resource and put it into your hold. Now, how does that come into play? Well, everybody gets 1 of these at the beginning of the game.
They're all different, so check it out.
All different.
You want to make sure you're not doing what the other
And
person's
this would be
doing.
a great one for me to get, because this is a red. You have to put these resources in order, so from the top here down this track. But you could put anything in here, it just goes over here and is worth 0 points. At the end of the game, you add up, so if this were on here, for example, okay, all right, then I would be getting, there's a 3 under there, 3 points times the 1 resource that I've got. So I would get 3 points from this, whereas if I had these 2, okay, even though the yellow wasn't one that would be in order, I'd have 3 times 2, so 6 points at the end of the game. So there are a lot of different ways to score points.
Yeah.
The third area on the board is, if you sail over into this area, you can, if you have guys still on your ship, you can place a guy here, get whatever resource, or in this case, get a new holding spot open. And now for the rest of the game, for the other next 3 rounds, I could start from here rather than starting from Nassau. Not necessarily the best thing since I'm so close, but if I really wanted to get over there and I hadn't built up my movement, that might be a really good place to start, especially since this Kraken hadn't been defeated and you do have to stop in those spots.
And you do still get the food resource there.
Yes,
Even
you
though
do
you
get
don't get
2
the
food, you don't
like
get the extra
cards or
bonus or the
money
card.
or anything.
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. So that's the way this works. each sailing, so each action over there costs one of these food resources.
Even if you're going to stay in the same area, you still have to pay.
Exactly, because you have to feed your people every time.
Yeah.
And then at the end, when you are run out of food, or it's like, okay, I'm done, I can't get to the things that I want, then you are going to step through the various things, and it's again back and forth, back and forth. So for example, the first place you go is over here to Skull Island. And if I had, for example, this resource that I had in my hold, I could pay 1 to put 1 in, 3 to put 2, 5 to put a total of 3 into my storage area. So I would pay my coin, okay, and put that red into my storage, all right? On the next, and then I lose that coin. On the next turn, I am going to come over here, and this is where I can spend a rum to fulfill up to 3 of my cards that I have done. So maybe I had gotten, oh, this one is easy.
Yep.
I had gotten 2 of those hooks right from the beginning. So I'm going to get 2 points. I can choose to do 3 cards no matter what, because I can always do 1 for its backside, which is 1 point. Okay? Not necessarily the best thing, but if you got that card and it's like, well, I can't do more than 2, and I'm never going to do this one, I might as well do a third one to get at least a point.
And also, remember, there's one thing where if you have the most of those points down, you get 5 bonus points.
Yes, we're going to get to that.
So,
that's at the end of scoring.
So you may want to do that to get an extra point to tie.
That's very true.
Because there was a few times when we were 1 off from each other.
Very true.
Point-wise.
The third thing you do is move back to your boat with your little boat, and you look to see, you get a ammo cube into your storage for every guy who is on one of the forts. You get, if you have at least 1 cube on a monster still, you get to draw a card, your choice of which ones.
Nice.
For each, not for each cube that's on a specific monster, but at least 1 on different monsters.
Hexagons.
And then again, at least 1 here on any of these towers, you get a couple of victory points.
Yes,
okay?
nice.
So these are the 3 things that pay off there. All right. Now, at that point, we then have the end of the round scoring. Then, after both of us have our ships back, okay, back to the spot, and we've done all of those things, then we are going to set up for the next round. We will take our guys off over here. They come back to a ship. This guy stays where he is. Yeah. Okay. If we had used our animals for whatever power they are, we flip them back over. Then we compare how many points each person currently has in their cards. The person or persons with the most get an extra 5 points. If you don't have any cards, you lose 5 points, and that's the way that works. Otherwise, you get 0. Now, I will say that one bugged me a bit. Right. That a person who's already scoring more points is going to get 5 more points. Now, again, there's a lot of different ways to score, so you can be working on different things. Right. But that one was a little bit problematic. Then, and we didn't talk about it. This track is the guy whom you can barter with. I forget what they call him, but this is our round track. You can, if you had sailed, if you had sailed and were in the same area as he is, you can get 2 rum and a card, and also pay a coin to get something over here. It's always 2 rum and a card. He is going to move to the next area, so he's going to go into
I'm saying D.
D. Sorry, that one would have been in B. This is now in D, okay? And a new one of these comes out as well. And now you notice you can buy 2 different types of weapons, as well as get that rum and the card when you go see him in D. You fill back up any resources, and you are all set. And that is the way it works. I should say that when you defeat, or actually, even if you don't, I forgot this, even if you don't defeat this monster, there is a resource that comes with them. All right? You're always going to, in this case, even though I didn't beat him, I get 2 points, and I would get to draw 2 cards. If I do the ship, I would get a resource, one of the goods drawn randomly from the bag, as well as 2 points. So beating the monsters is kind of good thing, even if you can't completely defeat them. If you do completely defeat them, they do go on your board for end game scoring. All right. Sorry about the crazy blue jay outside, if you can hear that. At the end of the game, you're going to score a bunch of different things. First off, you are going to look at all of the towers where you have cubes. So say I had 2 cubes over here and 1 cube over here. What I would do is add up all of the cubes, all of the ammo cubes. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times 1, 2, 3 towers and get 15 points there. Okay, that's one thing. Here, yeah. Over here, say I had defeated this Kraken, and I had defeated this thing, and I had defeated this guy over here. I add up the points, so 3, 4, 9 times 4, and that's big. That's 36 points. So it's the different types times the values that are on them. So that's big. You then look at your number of weapons. And we already talked about how this scores, this thing. You look at your number of weapons, you add up the most that you've total, so this would be 2, but say I had like 5.
And oftentimes you're trying to get some
you're trying to get specific ones. Say I had 5 total, including the one that I have to start with, and then I look at how many total I have collected, and I'm going to multiply those. So it was 5, and I say I collected 3 more. So it would be 4 plus 3, so that would be 7. So 5 times 7 would be 35 points there. You get 8 points for each sailor who has a animal, and then you get points for leftover stuff. All right? That's that. And there we are with Nassau. Okay, hon. As I always say here, what do you think of this one?
Well, I think I like it a lot more than you do.
That's probably true.
I think it's a lot of fun to play, but I think the setup is really labor intensive.
I will say that the setup, all of the fiddliness and all of the stuff, it soured me a little bit on the game.
And I could see that for sure. I think it's really beautiful how the presentation of it, all of the weapons having a specific spot.
Everything goes into place, yes.
I mean, it's really well done. Using this board is fun. There's lots of different ways you can try to go to get the things that you want.
There are 9 squares here, so it can be completely randomized.
Yeah, so you're always going to be getting something different.
That is true.
And, trying to figure out, sometimes you can't use all of your sailors because maybe you have to use 3.
Well, and you have to have sailors on your boat to be able to put them out here, to get that stuff.
You just can't use them here sometimes, so they just stay here and you don't use them. So, I mean, that's a possibility. But trying to figure out which direction to go, which things you need, how you're going to be able to collect the right gems or these resources.
The resources, yeah, exactly.
And how to store everything. And
there's a lot going on.
There's a lot. Yeah. And there's a lot of luck, of course, with the cards.
That can be a big thing where you get one, it's like, oh, well, I've been working towards that already, and boom, I've got it. Right. Or, wow, I was never working towards that, and it's never going to happen.
So, sometimes you can get, this one's a mouse, and there's a mouse out here, so that would be definitely something I would have been trying to go to, or it would be one of the animal pods.
Right, but you might not be anywhere near where you can get up animals.
And then those get flushed off, and some more get
the animals get flushed every round, yes.
Right, or sometimes they want specific kinds of the resources.
The resources. So this is the brown resource,
or you need a certain number of weapons, and so it just gives you some stuff to work towards. And sometimes you can't.
Definitely.
Do it. It's a lot. There's a lot of luck.
There is a lot of luck.
It's fun because you can peruse the board and see where you want to go fight, and trying to get your multipliers up on the different areas.
I would keep this over Rum and Pirates.
Sure.
That's just me because there's more interesting and involved things. I will say, and I have no understanding of why, there are supposed to be 13 of these pirates in the game. All right.
Right,
So we've
pirates.
got we got the fancy Kickstarter ones. Okay.
Right, sure.
For some reason,
Yeah.
there are 13 of the normal ones, and there are only 8 or 9 of the fancy ones.
Yeah. Why?
Was that a mistake?
I don't know.
Or what? I mean, I could understand if there were 8 of them. Okay, because you get 8 over here to start, right? That would make sense, and then you could have the others as they're the ones that you're going to get as additional ones. So that was a little weird, all right? Everything else, though, I understand how it fits together. I mean, even the pirates.
Yeah,
the animals fit on their hat, which is really cute.
The holes hold just the right amount
exactly,
of stuff.
Exactly. So, yeah, I mean, everything else works, but that was a little calm. And I will say, setup, I was just like, oh my gosh, it just keeps going. They wanted you, and so if you go back and watch the fast replay, they want you to put each separate thing into this bag and then pull it out and then put the next set into the bag. Put the next set into the bag. And then at the end, you've got both the fighting stuff and the resources in the bag that you're pulling from.
Right.
I just, as you could see, I was just putting them in my hand and randomly putting things out, just to make it
faster.
a little bit faster.
Still faster than 18
minutes to set up a game that plays in about 60. Now, so that's that. I like the game. We're probably going to hold on to it because she really likes the game, and we will play it more.
I like it, but I don't want to set it up. I'm negative I have to.
There's the rub.
I don't want to set it up for 18 minutes.
I'm the one setting stuff up.
Yeah, I'm doing something else.
She is.
So
exactly.
I'm getting the benefit of that, right? So,
you are definitely getting the benefit of that.
It's really fun if you don't have to set it up.
Yeah, okay. Hey, if you enjoyed this video, by the way, of Nassau from Queen Games, Stefan Feld, 2 to 4 players, we are going to be doing a lot of videos coming up over the next month because we have some games that we are going to be getting before Essen, but then we're heading to Essen, and we are going to do at least one video, if not more, from every day from Essen. Shelley's like, what are you talking about? This is going to be crazy.
We'll see.
No, it's going to be fun. We're going to do it, okay? So make sure you subscribe.
Yeah.
Make sure you thumbs up. Make sure you ring the bell so you find out about new ones that are coming in. And we are so glad to have you here. Go over to our podcast if you haven't subscribed there. And we got every week, every Sunday, we drop an audio podcast. Every Tuesday, and more coming up over the next month, we do a video as well. Enjoy yourselves. Have a great week. Take care, and we'll see you next week. Bye.